This self-proclaimed alpha male TikToker who bragged about being unemployed just got thrown in prison. Because what started as a flashy, get rich by any means necessary turned into a federal case. So it's safe to say things really backfired on him.
An Atlanta-based podcaster known for promoting a rich and unemployed lifestyle has been sentenced in a major federal fraud case. According to prosecutors, Jonathan Dupatin orchestrated a scheme to steal millions of dollars in California unemployment benefits during the pandemic, using stolen identities to file fraudulent claims. Authorities say the total loss exceeded $3 million.
So this is Jonathan Dupatin, a podcaster who ran Rich and Unemployed, and clearly that didn't work out too well for him, because now I guess he's maybe rich and imprisoned? Or, well, he's about to be, because in January, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail-in wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. So a federal judge sentenced him to 7 years of prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release after he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail-in wire fraud and aggravated identity fraud. And obviously, by the amount of time he got, this wasn't some small-time scam. Because prosecutors are saying this guy, he helped run a scheme that pulled in $3.8 million in unemployed benefits during the pandemic. You know, this was money that was supposed to go help families in need that actually lost their jobs. And this is just so beyond scummy. And there's just so many people who abuse these systems. I mean, I even had investment advisors come up to me and say, hey, we can get you like $60,000 or something like that for you. And I'm sitting there like, I'm a YouTuber. I work from home. I haven't been affected negatively by the pandemic. This money should absolutely go to the people who need it. Now, unfortunately, a lot of it clearly went to people who did not need it whatsoever. And obviously, the people who wanted to help me get these funds, it would have been through a legal way, but it just felt weird and I didn't want to be involved in it whatsoever. But the way this guy got it was nowhere near any type of way I was offered it, because this was bad. Because according to a U.S. Attorney's office, during the pandemic, while citizens were struggling with job loss and trying to make ends meet, Dupatin, he stole unemployed benefits by submitting false applications using hundreds of stolen identities. So no, this wasn't some business owner taking way more money out of the system that he needed to pay for wages. No, this was a guy who just stole people's identities and claimed their money for them. That sounds bad enough, but trust me, it gets worse, because the entire operation allegedly started while he was already in the halfway house. What did he do? Fraud. So the guy who was already dealing with the fraud charge just decided to do more fraud. Awesome. You know, because there's nothing like being locked up for fraud, but then doing an even bigger fraud scheme. Like, at that point, you're not even laying low. You're just speed running a bigger sentence. Congratulations. And it gets even crazier when you realize this wasn't just something that was quietly happening in the background. No, this guy was very public. This guy had a whole podcast where his motto was, fraud is dope. I'm not joking. This is his public motto. That's not something I dug up or anything. No, he was very blatant about that being his motto. I guess this is just one of those stories where the branding, the lifestyle, the actual crime all collide in the most ridiculous way possible. But to really understand how insane all this is, we have to go back to where it all started. So back in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, when millions of people were out of work, the government rolled out an expanded unemployment program to help people survive. So this is essentially emergency benefits, extra payments, easier approvals, and all that. And according to the prosecutors, that's exactly what this guy saw as an opportunity. So instead of applying for benefits like a normal person, he allegedly built a system to mass produce fake claims using hundreds of stolen identities. So according to officials, Dupatin and his group would take personal information from real people who had no idea what was going on, and use that to file fraudulent unemployed applications through California's system. Then on top of that, they used VPNs to hide where the applications were coming from, masking their actual location and making it harder for investigators to track them down. So once the claims were approved and the money started coming in, that's when the funny business started. So they started changing the addresses of all of these claimants to an address in northern Georgia, including his own address, which doesn't make sense whatsoever. But clearly, this guy's a rocket scientist. He's one would think that they would try to be a little bit more careful with where that money's being sent and where the addresses are. You know, maybe an offshore account, maybe a little bit of financial trickery. Nah, they just threw in the addresses where they literally stayed. Are you serious? So they had the cards mailed to them where they were staying, and then once the cards show up, no, they just started hitting ATMs around Atlanta and withdrawing the maximum amount. And I guess this was working very smoothly until prosecutors noticed it all, and that's when they realized $3.8 million had been sent to these addresses, and about $2 million had been withdrawn from various ATMs throughout all of Atlanta. And what's crazy to me as well is the amount of money they spent. They made so much money so quickly, and they just ran through that immediately. And again, all of this was happening in 2020 to 2021 when people really needed that money, and this guy was just withdrawing it in ATMs and just blasting it. And again, the whole operation was ran by a guy who was apparently in the halfway house for fraud. So, no red flags detected whatsoever. But according to court records, Dupiton had already been convicted in an earlier fraud case years before the pandemic even happened.
I remember back in 2013 when I was trying to figure this out. I didn't go outside, bro. I said, you know what? This bro. Going to the club, chilling, hanging out. I thought I was tripping. I had to figure this out, man.
Because, as I mentioned earlier, according to court records, he'd already been convicted just a few years earlier. Well, congratulations. I guess he just figured out how to commit fraud, because just a few years later, around 2014 to 2015, him and his then wife were tied to a scheme involving food assistance benefits, specifically SNAP, which, same general idea. This is money that's supposed to help people, and this guy is just eluding it. Because here, he also used stolen identities to obtain SNAP funds. And that operation also pulled in hundreds of thousands of dollars. So by 2017, he was then convicted and sentenced to 4 years in prison. But then I guess the last bit of that stint was served in the halfway house. And normally you would think that you would chill out a bit after serving 4 years, but I guess not everyone. And I mean, just looking at the whole timeline, you have him being convicted, the sentences, the halfway house, and then immediately another scheme. There's literally no gap here whatsoever. And all while he's being super public on his podcast. And guess what his podcast was about? Beating the system. Okay.
It's because I got you guys' attention. Attention is the new currency. Attention is how you build your brand. Attention is how you build your podcast. Attention is how you bring awareness. Attention is the new currency. Say it. Attention is the new currency. Attention is the new currency. I've been successfully able to keep you guys' attention for a year and a half. I'm Jonathan Dupiton, aka Finesse, aka Mr. Rich and Unemployed. You've seen the podcast, you heard of it. And if you haven't, you probably gonna go home and watch it today. I got over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, almost 500,000 followers on Instagram. The numbers don't even matter, but I did it. And you can too. But where? Where does this come from?
Spoiler, I guess it comes from crime. I guess this is what a lot of people would call finesse culture, where you have people that are just saying like, yeah, rules are optional, just get bread by any means necessary, until you realize there are actually consequences for your actions. And if you scam people out of money or steal people's identities, you're gonna be locked up, because at the end of the day, you just finessed yourself out of some freedom. But again, the worst part of this is his slogan is "Fraud is dope," which he defined as finally rich after unstoppable determination. So the dude is just stealing people's identities with unstoppable determination. Okay, who knows though? Maybe at the time he thought this was going to be like some cool slogan to throw on a hoodie, but now clearly it backfired. Because Dupiton is now serving a 7-year federal prison sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release. And on top of that, he's going to have to pay restitution, with the final amount that's still going to be declared. So this was a massive net negative for him. He should have never done any of this. And for anyone out there thinking about doing this, yeah, let's not do that, because clearly it will set you back years of your life. Because this dude is probably going to owe the US government something in the tune of $3.8 million now.
If you owe somebody some money, go ahead and pay them back their money. Go ahead and pay these people back their money, man.
And as one official put it, like, this is a case of someone choosing to take advantage of someone's critical safety net. I still don't know why he thought he would ever get away with this, especially when he's sending money to his own residence. Hello? Bro's sending money to his own residence and has an entire online persona essentially promoting fraud. What did he think was going to happen? It's almost like he was begging to go to prison. Like, what are you doing? But considering he was caught, it doesn't look like he was beating the system. I guess he was just borrowing time, and that time ran out. And since he got his sentence, he did actually post a video on YouTube titled "Fraud is Dope," with his statement in bio. And here he's basically saying, what do you say here? They got a lot to say about me right now. Everyone got opinions on the Rich and Unemployed name, the case, the time I'm facing, but ain't nobody asking how I'm actually feel going through it. This ain't no headline to me. This is my real life. yeah, I seen everything. The blogs, the comments, the people switching sides, the ones laughing, the ones acting like they knew me. But what people don't understand is when it's your freedom on the line, all that noise hit different. I ain't running from nothing. I accept what comes to this. Every decision, every move, every consequence. That don't mean I'm folding though. That don't mean I'm not standing on who I am. Dude, you just stole a bunch of people's money with their own identities. Like, this was money that was supposed to go to them. Like, this situation showed me who really with me and who just like the image. It showed me the difference between support and spectators. And more than anything, it forced me to sit with myself. No distractions, no ego, just truth. People love the finesse when it looked good. They love the wins, the lifestyle, the story. But when it turned real, when it turned federal, that's when you see who built for it and who's just watching. This ain't the end for me, just a chapter people get to talk about. Oh, dude, just don't steal people's money. Like, it's pretty simple. You did this to yourself. And if you have people standing by you, supporting you, stealing other people's money, it says a lot about the crowd you hang around. Dude's like, yeah, it's real life. Okay, yeah, dude, it's real life for everyone else's money you stole from them. This was supposed to be benefits going to them. Like, imagine losing your job and finding out, oh, wait, you're not gonna get this emergency payment because someone already claimed it in your name. That's how people miss utility bills. That's how people don't feed their kids. Like, this is a nightmare. And people who do this kind of fraud should absolutely be punished. It's just ridiculous, this whole story. And in this video, like, he ends up releasing Fraud is Dope, the movie, I guess. Like, what? I don't even know what to call it. It's just him glorifying fraud for like 20 minutes. And then he has this like weird moment where he's like, I guess, talking about his downfall on the phone. Like,
Don't know what to say, really. Didn't think that my demise or my downfall would be entertainment for so many people, that so many people were so interested in what I had going on. But I love it. I mean, it's a love and hate relationship. I love to hate, I love to love. And you can't exist without both.
All of it just does not make sense. But I guess him just turning a 7-year prison sentence into another podcast episode is just peak irony. But I guess this is what happens when you commit fraud. So that's life, guys. Don't steal from others. And that's a great start. But other than that, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and you can check out this video, which is going to be even more insane. So click on that, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace.